What's up, everyone? Welcome in. Welcome. Hey, Sean, you are very welcome for posting an up-to-date XR video. It was much needed, and and that's kind of the topic for today. Is we're gonna go through. I'm gonna basically just kind of cover what I did in the tutorial that I posted on Wednesday, but in a more interactive way, so that y'all can answer questions. I can answer any kind of nuanced little issues anyone's been having. I know some people have been on the Discord asking different questions and having some issues and whatnot. So today's video is basically just, trying to address a lot of those kinds of things. And a very exciting thing is there is a game jam announcement. We are doing a game jam, which is super, super fun. And so I'm going to be talking about that after we go over this little kind of tutorial, or maybe should I do it before? I don't know. Let me know. Should I do the game jam announcement now, or should I wait until after the tutorial and do a little bit of suspense? Let me know what you think, because part of me is like, oh, I just want to like show y'all and have everyone start signing up. Do both. How am I supposed to do both? All right, hold on. Let me go to itch. And VR. It's called. Can I do a tutorial about climbing? Yes, that is in my list. I definitely want to do a climbing tutorial because that is a pretty popular one. Climbing, eating was surprisingly popular, so I did a tutorial about that last week, 2 weeks ago. I don't remember. And then climbing is a very popular one, and then how to just kind of add hands in and do that kind of stuff. I've done tutorials about how to do, VR hands and do animations and stuff, but I may do an updated one for that since I can kind of clear up some questions people have been having on that one as well. Let's see. All right, let's talk about the VR Jam, as I've been calling it. Let me share my screen. So this is the game jam announcement. Super, super exciting. We did a game jam. Oh gosh, when was that? I forgot when the last. It was itch.io jams VR Super Jam. It was 2021. I don't remember. There was a VR Super Jam that we did, and it was super, super exciting. And we had like several hundred people sign up and like make games, and we had about 80 submissions, which was kind of crazy. Was it 80 games or was it like 40? Gosh, I don't remember it. It wasn't even that long ago. Oh, I'm bad. But we are doing a very chill jam. I will post a link in the chat right now. So that's the link if you want to sign up. This is going to be a very casual game jam. There's not going to be any prizes or anything, but it's essentially just at the end of January, so January 28th through January 30th. I'm just going to have it start at midnight on the 28th and end right before midnight on the 30th. So it'll be a 72-hour game jam, and will be super, super fun. It's just gonna be casual. It's just you can use all the assets that you've bought before or you've made or whatever, and we're gonna have some fun and basically just play some games. And the goal is to get you used to making VR games, kind of do some of the things from the tutorials, just get your feet wet. And a game jam is, I've found, one of the best ways to actually learn how to play games. Or make games and play games. You get to play a lot of fun games for free too, as well. So, I don't know how many people turn out, but it'll be super fun. I'm actually going to be participating in this game jam as well. So you may end up seeing, if you're not going to participate in the game jam, you can watch me make my game, my submission, and we'll see how that goes. And we'll see if one of you can beat me. I think that'd be kind of fun to see if one of y'all can actually can beat this kind of stuff. I don't understand what a game jam is. So a game jam, if you don't know what a game jam is, it's like a hackathon. If they're called hackathons in like the more enterprise world, it's essentially you have 72 hours. At the beginning of the 72 hours, you're given a topic, and you have to start from scratch building a game. And within 72 hours, have a finished game based around whatever topic you're given. And it's like super fast paced, super hardcore, very fun. The Discord always goes crazy. There's lots of people posting, and it's it's just super fun. So sign up here. So you just go to this link I posted in the chat, and it's just itch.io/jam/VR jam for January jam, and then you just hit join, and you'll get notified when we go live. It starts in 19 days, so you have a few days to get brushed up and hone your skills a little bit. So you can. So the rules for this one are pretty lax. So it's a 72-hour game jam. It's just me hosting it, and if you want to, be notified or kind of join a crew, or if you want some teammates, join the Discord. I'm pretty sure there's a link down in the description of this video for the Discord, and so just join that. Make sure that. And speaking of the Discord, I don't think I've posted that I'm live in the Discord. Oh. Somebody, if you're in the Discord, post that I'm live. But the Discord's super crazy. Everyone, forms teams. You can have. We're not putting a cap on this one, so it'll be. It's a very lax game jam. It's supposed to be fun. This one's supposed to be fun. I'm joining it. I'm gonna do it solo and see how far I can get with some assets from the Unity Asset Store, because I know that I am not an artist at all, so I'm going to have to get some of those, and then I'm going to use my coding expertise to try to come up with a jam. And I don't even know the theme, so I'm going to pick from 5 or 6 random themes, or I may even let y'all vote in the Discord, and I'll let everyone else vote for a theme, and we'll just go with it. So that's going to be posted right when the jam starts. The theme is posted, so you have to plan, build, and deploy. So basically post to itch.io within the time frame of the 72 hours, which is harder than you think. And the one thing that everyone always says is scale down. So if you have an idea, make it about that big, and then maybe make it about that big, and just get one mechanic that's really fun working. And then you can slowly start to add more if it's feasible at all. So the jam that I did for Balaam back last year, it was a 72-hour game jam, and the first day was just planning. I was like, all right, okay, well, what are we going to do? And I had a team of 3 other people, so we kind of came out with a little script, figured out what kind of assets we needed, and the second day was just roughing out, like, okay, let's get it functional, make it work. And then the last day was making it look pretty, adding in sound effects and haptics and all those extra little visuals and whatnot, and adding in some extra things. So that's kind of the format of what this will end up being like, hopefully. And it is going to be rated on enjoyment. So how fun is the game to play? Concept, so how interesting or like unique your game is. Presentation, so how well put together is it? So does it have in ambiance, like environment sounds? Do you like hear, like when you pick up and drop something, do you hear the sound effect from that? And then the last one is, of course, use of theme. How closely did the person stick to the theme? Stratton, it's a super fun way to learn. People, the most fun way to do it is to join a team. So find 2 or 3 other people on the Discord, and if you're a coder, find an artist. If you're an artist, find a coder. You could find a level designer to help. Someone does functionality things, someone does the art side of things, and then someone puts it all together, makes it look nice, and makes a cool level. And then you could also get an audio person, so someone who's good at wants to make a theme song for the game, or the background music or whatever. So it's cool to assemble your little team, and then if you find a cool team or good team, maybe y'all will just make a game together outside of the game jam. Make a bigger game that you could sell on the Oculus Quest store or App Lab or something. And yes, Cameron, any level is welcome. So if you're brand new, you can use a pre-made framework from the asset store. Just buy like Hurricane VR or VR TK or VR Interaction Framework, one of those, and just like use all of the pre-built things and just come up with a cool level, and just not even do any coding if you wanted to. So yeah, all levels are welcome. It's just gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun game jam. So basically, just no safe, not safe for work content. Make sure you can submit more than one game if you would like, but would not recommend. You have to. So the one like big rule is it has to be made within the 72 hours. You can't start early, and that's the reason the theme is not posted until right when the jam starts, so you don't really know what you're getting into. So you can practice. You can like come up with like a game or a template, or like do something like that beforehand. But afterwards, once the game starts, you have to start from a completely scratch project and build it all the way up. It could be it could be for any platform. So if you make it for Quest 2, the Android build standalone, or you can make it for PC build, or any other standalone headset. But if you can make it compatible for both, so PC and Quest 2, which all you have to do is change a couple of build settings and you could build for both, then that is where you're going to reach the most people. So the most people will be able to play your game if you run a PC build and a Quest 2 build. But it'll work totally fine if all you can do is do a Quest 2 build. That's totally okay. So yeah, just go to this website, itch.io/jam/VRJanJam, and hit this join button, and then you'll just get an email when the jam is about to start. If you know anyone who wants to sponsor the event, let me know. Reach out to me on the Discord. We can maybe work out, give away some keys to assets or something like that. Yeah, I could show you guys how to do the PC build and Quest build stuff. That's totally for sure. That's why I'm here. That's why I want to do all this kind of stuff. So the today I kind of just want to cover how to make a very basic setup. Basically, just go over what the tutorial was on Wednesday. But when the jam comes around, I will absolutely be live streaming a lot of it. I think it'd be fun just to, if you can't participate in the jam, just to come hang out with me, and basically my team will be everyone who is watching the live stream, and so we're all gonna like throw our ideas together and be like, oh, I'll take this idea from this person in the chat and this idea from somebody else on the Discord, and try to put it all together and make a fun game. And I don't have a particular advantage in this either, because I'm not going to know the theme ahead of time. I may even let y'all vote on the theme. I may post a thing in the Discord and just let everyone else vote on like 4 or 5 or 10 theme choices, and then we'll announce the winner at the very beginning. And hopefully none of y'all beat me, because that would be a little bit embarrassing, but we'll see what happens. It'll be cool. It'll be really fun. So let's talk about, let's just walk through setting up a basic VR project. And then if you have questions, please drop them in the chat. I can absolutely bring up questions and whatnot. I actually don't know who won the last jam. Who is it? I need to find the link. And I need to find the link to the last jam so y'all can look at it and go play some games. Do you have to write code differently for Windows Mixed Reality versus non-Windows Mixed Reality? If you're using the OpenXR kind of environment, then you're totally fine. Also, Unity 2020.3 is absolutely fine. It'll be a little bit different than what I'm doing here. Some of the settings are a little bit different, but 2020.3 is a LTS version, which means long-term support, which means that you will be able to use that for longer. Long-term support just means they support that version for at least 2 years. So you're not going to have any issues or changes to that particular build. So let's jump in and get started making our own little VR project here, and then if y'all have any like weird ideas and we have some extra time, I'll kind of throw those in here, and we might add hands or a little more complex movement techniques to this build, and whatnot. The cube in the last video stutters when you move. Can this be fixed? Yes, there is a smoothing like checkbox you can check. Let's jump into it, and then so we'll do. So first things first, we want to go to Edit, Project Settings. Also, let me highlight my cursor. There we go. Project Settings, and then all the way down at the bottom, XR Plugin Management. So I have not installed XR Plugin Management. It's a brand new project. So hit that. That'll kind of spin up. Is Hurricane VR newbie friendly, or do you need code? You can do it without code. Hurricane VR it just has a lot of things. So there's a little more of a kind of learning, learning curve to actually learn Hurricane VR. It's like learning almost another game engine kind of thing. It's just like, what components do you need to add to make this guy be able to be stabbed, or like what components do you need to add to this kind of thing. It's a little more setup, but they have a really good Discord. The developer is super active and is very good at following up with bugs or issues or questions and whatnot. So Discord, and then they also have a YouTube channel where he posts how to import your own gun model and set it up in Hurricane VR to work with their gun ecosystem. All right, so we installed XR Plugin Management, so we're going to check the OpenXR box. The VR template was set up. Are the builds already correct for cross-platform? Yes, and that's what I'm going to show you all after this kind of setup video, how to install that VR template. And it's not, I don't think it's linked in the description of this video, but if you go to my last actual video that I posted, it has it has the template. So when you install OpenXR, it's going to ask you to restart Unity because it's going to turn on the new input system. So I don't know why. That's the only setting that if you check, it has to completely restart Unity. And it's just going from the old input system, which is using code like input dot get mouse down or input dot get key down, to a more complex input system, which we'll get into a little bit today, but it's a lot more useful and a lot better for OpenXR and VR and whatnot. So after we install OpenXR, there's going to be a little warning triangle here. So if we click on that, it says we need to add at least one interaction profile, and you need to add some controllers, basically, is what it wants you to do. So all it did was take us from this page to this OpenXR page, which we have now because we installed the OpenXR toolkit. And we're going to take this interaction profiles and add, whatever devices you want to build to. So I usually go with the Oculus Touch, obviously, because that's the most popular headset ever right now. The Valve Index, because I also have one of those. And then the HTC Vive is usually a good one. I don't usually go with any of the Microsoft. This is more of if you're using the HoloLens, if you're building an app for the HoloLens, you'd use one of these Microsoft things. And then Chronos and Eye Gaze are more like AR kind of stuff. And then, and usually I like to switch this to multipass. So single pass instantiated is where it does one render call, or not one render call, but one renders the scene once and then kind of duplicates it in both eyes. And that's what, if some of you run into the issue where one eye is black and only one eye shows, then you could change this render mode to multipass. And it basically renders the scene once, puts it in this eye, renders the scene again, puts it in the other eye. So you don't have that issue. It's a little more performance intensive, requires a little more performance on the computer's part or the Quest's part, but it generally is a little bit better. The reason I don't use the Oculus plugin is because I want to be able to build for my Valve Index or any other PC game. So I don't usually use the Oculus plugin. Also, they're moving towards a more OpenXR version of things anyway. So Is there anything special you have to do to see your game run in the Unity editor while you're playing it? No. You just have to, as long as you set all these settings up correctly that I'm going through, then it should, as long as your Oculus Quest is in link mode, or you have a PC headset that's plugged in or whatever, then, it should all work fine. Can you enable 90 FPS on the Quest without the Oculus Quest? Yes. So you go to time over here, and then you have your fixed time step, and you could just go 1/90. There you go. I have a 90 hertz. So this is like how often your physics is calculated right here. Let's see. Okay, where were we? So we added the OpenXR. We're in multipass, and we added some interaction profiles. But now we want to set it up so, like, what if I want to build for a specific Oculus Quest standalone? So this is where we go over to this Android tab. If you don't see this Android tab, that just means you need to open up the Unity Hub and go to your modules. So if you go down to installs, so Unity Hub, installs, and then whatever version you're using. And then if this Android build support icon is not there, you'll just want to hit these three dots here and then go to add modules, and then make sure Android build support is checked and both of these checks underneath the Android whatnot. And then also, if you're building for a PC, you'll want to add Windows build support down here as well. And there's not a Mac or Linux yet, so unfortunate. So that's how you get this little tab here. And then I usually go with Oculus for this one, this plugin, because if you run OpenXR, there's still, I haven't checked it. I might need to go back and check it, but every time I've run and the Android tab has had the OpenXR box checked, when I try to run the game on Oculus standalone, it will just be in like a 2D like theater mode, and like doesn't actually put me in the app. It's just I'm looking at the app, so super weird. So you fix that by just checking Oculus instead of checking OpenXR. And all this is set up for you in the template that I'll show you after setting all this up. So now we have OpenXR checked on the PC tab. On the Android tab, we have Oculus checked. And then inside of Oculus, multipass is already set up. And then OpenXR over on the PC tab, we have multipass we had to swap to. And then we added a couple interaction profiles. Also for Oculus, you can check to see like what devices you want to actually be able to run to. So you can check or uncheck the Quest 2. Like if your app is going to be like too like performance intensive for the original Quest, you can uncheck it, and then you won't be able to build to that device. I do not recommend HDRP for VR. Unless you're doing specifically like a PC VR, like something like Half-Life Alyx could use HDRP. Theoretically, HDRP is generally like a more realistic, more lifelike, but also way more performance intensive pipeline. So I would go with the universal render pipeline most of the time, because the universal render pipeline is optimized for, or you can optimize it and kind of scale it up and down for mobile devices. So I would scale it down for a Quest 2, and then I'd scale it up if you're going to run on a PC build. What Unity version do I recommend for VR? That is going to be right now. So if you're learning, I'd recommend just going the highest non-beta build, which is right now Unity 2021.2.7 right here. 2021.2.7. So that's the latest one. So I always, when I'm learning, I just stay in the most recent release. But if you're building a game, I would generally recommend dropping down to the latest long-term support build. So those are kept up for 2 years and don't change for 2 years, which is very nice. But if you're learning, yeah, just stay in the most recent one. I'll have to look into the like Quest FPS things. I haven't messed with that recently. Generally, I just like leave it at whatever the default is, and it'll figure itself out. Not too worried about it. All right, so we did all the settings, pretty sure so far. Yeah, so we added in all these plugins, so that's good. And then we want to go to Window and Package Manager. So it automatically drops us into wherever our whatever's in our project right now. We'll go to Unity Registry, and it's not going to let us anymore. It's not going to show the VR interaction toolkit that I like to download. So I'm going to hit this plus button, add package from Git URL, and we're going to type in com.unity.xr.interaction.toolkit. So com.unity.xr.interaction.toolkit, hit add, and it's going to install the invisible package by magic. I don't know why it's not showing up anymore. It's like none of the preview packages are showing up in 2021.2. So I'm not quite sure what's up with that, but probably will end up getting fixed in the next build or whatever. It's going to say, so you used to not get this little pop-up, but now since they've updated the toolkit, so you'll see it's 2.0.0. So they've done a hard update. So from 1.0 to 2.0, it's a major update. So it's going to break any of your 1.0 things. So if you have a project that already exists with some of the 1.0 XR interaction toolkit stuff in it, it's going to break that. So it's basically just prompting you here to make a backup because it's going to break some things. All right, and then we want to add this sample. So you'll see this little samples drop down and add the default input actions. We're going to import that. And that's going to give us a lot of the actions that are already set up for us. And we don't have to worry about going through and say, okay, well, what does this button do? What does this button do? And what does this button do? It's already all set up for us. So super, super nice. And I think, so now we go back to settings since we added all this. Oh, wait. Before settings, before the one more setting. So now when we added samples, so assets, samples, XR interaction toolkit, whatever version we're on, and then the default input actions, it'll give us a list of some like sample things. So this is the continuous move sample inputs that's already set up, the continuous turn, and then you have the left-hand controller, right-hand controller, and snap turn. So I'm just going to go through and click the button to add this preset to our XR rig on all 5 of these. And then to make sure you did this right, all you have to do is go back to Edit, Project Settings, and then inside of Preset Manager, you'll see here are all the presets we just added. And then on the left and right hand controller, we just have to specify which one's left and which one's right, because I don't know why. This is just what you have to do, which is annoying because it says left in the name, so you'd think it would know, but it does not. So now everything should be set up, and we can add our XR origin. Now it's not called the XR rig anymore; it's called an XR origin. So right-click XR, so you should see this XR thing. And so if you didn't install it right, all you'll see is convert the I don't even know if it's in here anymore, but it'll say convert the main camera to an XR origin or XR rig. If you only see that, that means you didn't install the XR interaction toolkit correctly. So you need to make sure you do that. So we're going to go to XR and then XR origin action based. So if you do the XR origin, it'll convert your main camera, but you'll see it only has the camera inside of here. So I'm going to delete this one. Right click XR and XR with the action based next to it. And you'll see that adds an interaction manager, an XR origin, and then inside the XR origin we have the camera offset and then main camera and left and right hands. And then we'll check to make sure the left hand has left hand things and the right hand has right hand things. So perfect. So now we have a totally set up VR kind of system now. So I'm going to add a ground plane. Save the project. I always save the project right before I hit play because that's when Unity crashes, right when you hit play. And if you don't save, you don't have that habit of Control S right before you hit play. If you miss it that one time, that's when your project's going to crash and Unity crashes. So Control S, and now, so we have all of this set up. Inside of our edit project settings, and then XR plugin management, you'll see that there is an initialize XR on startup. That means we're going to go ahead and dump off into a VR headset if we find one when we hit play. So hit play. I'm not gonna hit yet. I'm gonna make sure my Quest is all set up and in link mode still. Yep, cool. So now if I hit play, wait, let me change this so you guys can actually see it. Play maximized. Cool. All right, so hit play. It's thinking. Oh, we missed one thing. Does anybody know what it was? There's one thing we missed. Did anybody catch it? Let me go through the chat while I'm waiting to see if anyone knows the thing that we missed. You can also use spatial audio in your games. What workflow do you use for spatial audio? I am not a huge audio person, so for the time being, I just kind of use the normal like audio things. Like I use like 3D audio stuff. Yes, I forgot the input actions. Very nice. Oh, did I just pin? Pin that. Forgot the input actions. So, over in the XR interaction manager, this is where I always put it. It could go anywhere in the scene, but I just always, it's an interaction thing, so I always add it to the interaction manager. So go to add component and then input action manager. And this basically links our headset and the XR origin to all of these actions that we just added as presets. So right now our list is empty, so I'm gonna hit this plus sign and then hit the little circle, and that'll have the XR default input actions, which is this right here. And if we double click on this, it shows us all the input like things that we can use. So for the head mounted display, the HMD, we just have position and rotation. There's no buttons. But for the left hand, we have position and rotation, but we also have select, which is going to be our grip button. So if we wanted to change this to something else, so if we wanted select to be like just one of the top buttons or something, all we'd have to do is go to like click on this path here, and then we'll go to XR controller. And since we're on the left hand, we'll go to XR controller left hand, optional controls, and then we'll just find whatever button we want it to make it. So we could make it the primary button. So now it's just the X button on our left hand controller. So this is how you go in and like change what input actions and stuff you want to do. So let's see, we'll make this back, set this back to the grip. So grip button. And you can go in and add, so right now the two like really primary kind of things are the select and the activate. So select is going to be your grip button, and then activate is going to be the trigger. But it doesn't have any of like the buttons or the thumbsticks or anything like that. Well, it has thumbsticks, so it has turn in here. And move also. But you basically just like whatever action you want to perform. So this is the new input system. So instead of like whatever you convert the button to like code, it's like convert the button to an action, and then with that action you can you basically just perform that action. So whenever this button is pressed, perform this action. So that's kind of what this new input system is trying to accomplish. So whenever I press the grip button, I want the select action to happen, and then whenever I press the trigger button, I want the activate action to happen. So that's effectively what this is. And then you can save by clicking save asset or auto save up here if you want. So I'm not going to save that. So all we did was add in this input action manager and then added the default input actions. So that basically is just the mapping to everything. And now we can hit play. Welcome, Travis. You can listen on 2x speed and just catch up. All right, so now if I wake my controllers up, there we go. Now we have lasers. So these are about like 10 meters long or something like that. And they track with my controller quite nicely. And they're red right now because the not everything's invalid. I can't click on anything. I can't move, so if I do like the thumbsticks, nothing really happens. So how do we add in some movement to this? So like, cool, we have a VR app that we can load into and boot up. And this is actually quite an accomplishment. So if you get to this point, I applaud you. It's a little difficult to get to this sometimes. So, but like, okay, cool. We have a scene we can load up into. Let's do the next step and add in some movement. And movement is actually surprisingly easy. So you just right click, XR, and then Locomotion System. And there we go. Ta-da! So if you load up into this, all you have to do is add the Locomotion System. And then you are pre-set up with a teleportation system and a snap turn system. The one thing you need to do is on the ground plane here, we're going to add a component. Collapse these so y'all can see. We're going to add a teleportation area. Now that basically makes this ground plane as I can teleport to anywhere on this area, anywhere that I'm pointing my lasers to. And then let's make the ground a different color. I did this in the video because it's kind of hard to see the white lasers because the lasers turn white when you can select an item. So we're going to create a folder called materials. And then inside of the materials folder, we're going to create a new material. There you are. Ground maps. And then we'll do like a gray color. Drag and drop that on. There we go. And then save. And then let's hit play again. And now you'll see when I point at the ground, my lasers turn white. Shoot, yeah, y'all can see everything. Cool. When I point at the ground, my lasers turn white. And so like, let's say I'm pointing at this corner and I press the grip button, I am instantly teleported to the corner, which is perfect. And I can point wherever, and there's a little bit of a delay. So it's when I release my grip is when I actually teleport. And also I can press the either of the thumbsticks and snap turn. And you'll see there's like a little bit of a debounce. So I'm like pressing it a bunch and it does it like one every third time. So it's like a timed delay. So there's like a couple of different settings you can change in here. So if we wanted to make the turn amount not 45 degrees, we can make it like 15 degrees or 90 degrees in the debounce time. So that's like the time before I can turn again. So it basically prevents you from like double hitting it and kind of doing like a digit, which is very nice. And you could reduce this if you think it's a little too long. Let's see. We can make the lines, so like the lines right now are just straight, but if we want to kind of do that kind of arcing thing, that's actually pretty easy to fix. So we go over to XR Origin, and then we'll select the left hand and right hand controller by pressing Control and the other one. And then the Ray Interactor has a line type and it's straight line. So we'll just do a projectile curve. And then you can like kind of set the velocity, like how like far is it going to shoot. And then now, so that was for both of them. So we'll save, hit play again, and you'll see now they gotta have a little arc to them. Bloop. So they've got that little arc, which is pretty cool. Let's see, I'm gonna take a pause and look at chat one more time. See if y'all have any questions. To remove the lasers, you turn off the line renders. Yeah, you could just turn off the line render here. So the XR line visual and the line render. Or you can make it so it's like red, or you could like change the color here. So you can change the alpha value to 0 if you're like actively pointing at something, or if you're not pointing at something, you can turn everything off. But if you are pointing at something, you can leave it on. So like you could have only the end show up, and then we can make the gradient be like, make it like a really thin line. Let's see how that looks. The annoying part about VR is you got to jump into the headset in and out a bunch of times, which is that's the annoying part. So you see, I have a very thin line now, and it only shows up when I'm pointing at something valid. So now I'm not pointing at anything, and you'll see nothing happens. But when I point at the ground, you'll see it's kind of like transparent. So like it gets transparent, and then it gets a little more bright as you go along. So you can kind of play around with that, make it look how, whatever your game needs. How do you do it? When you point or press the trigger with the raycast to an object, a predefined sign will appear on it that shows information about that object. So if you like hover over it, you could you'd have to have a object, and then you'd have to put a canvas, like a world space canvas above it with all the info and whatever, and then you would have to have a script on the object. So let's go into that kind of leads me into the next thing. So how do you pick up things? So let's right click, create a 3D cube object, and then we'll reset the transform and scale it down to like 0.2, and then I'll bring it up a little bit and over here. Actually, over here, because I'll be facing that way. So how do you pick up this object? Yes, I am going to post the stream later, Chris, if you need to go or something. No hard feelings. But yeah, I would like to start doing these live streams every week. So basically just cover what we talked about in the tutorial video earlier and just answer some questions, be a little more personable. I can, kind of see what y'all are struggling with and kind of tune the next video that I post to what kind of info you guys, want to see. So that's why, and I just like hanging out and answering questions and stuff. Like I can get off track a little more, and I can just ramble a little bit and whatnot. So just found your channel and love what you have done. Yeah, I really appreciate it. People really liked this last video on Wednesday. Like I'm very surprised at the amount. It's like tripled my most watched video, which is absolutely crazy in the last like 3 days. So welcome to all the new people. I found my test game looked different when you build it. Oh yeah, so there's like a little bit of lighting differences between a specific like Oculus Quest build and a PC build. And even if you don't change any of the settings, the lighting's just a little bit off. And I'm not quite sure why that is. I think it's like some of the way the Android renders lighting versus PC renders lighting. So yeah, just kind of keep that in mind. Does the XR system have anything for tracked objects? A few of their trackers, and wondering if it could be used without Steam VR. I have not looked into that actually. There's a lot of stuff. So like the XR direction toolkit is very new, and I am I guess considered one of the experts for VR right now, but I still am learning a ton of stuff for it and how to do it. Any way to fix when you import continuous movement, you can walk through walls? Yes, there is a way to fix that. And I could probably show you. I think we'll have time. We might get into a lot of things in this video. So right now, when you move around, it doesn't have anything to do with colliders and whatnot. Let's finish the cube and we'll jump back into movement. So I like these kind of live streams because I can just kind of bounce around and answer people's questions, but also I just get way off track all the time. So let's finish the cube and then we can jump back into the technicalities and stuff. So cube here, we want to be able to pick it up. So I'm going to add a grab intractable. So that's going to automatically add on a rigid body. And we want to change this collision detection from discrete to continuous dynamic, which means it's updating the physics every frame, or it's checking for a physics movement every frame, and kind of calculating where that physics is going to go, as opposed to discrete, which means it's less processing power, but also not as accurate. And so when you're picking up things and throwing things, you want them to be pretty accurate as to where they are in the world. So we'll use continuous dynamic for that. And then here, the grab interactable, there's a lot of different things you can kind of play around with. And I forgot who was asking about the having a little pop-up happen when you hover over an object. You can actually do that without code. So all you have to do is have I can actually kind of demo that. So let's create a quad. And we're going to put it right above this object. So it's going to be right there. But, and it can be parented to the object because it's going to be like, something to see. But we're going to turn it off for right now. But when we hover over it, so first hover entered, we want to toggle the cube on. So all I did was click on this plus icon down here, and then we're going to drag the quad in, and then we want the game object set active to true. And then when your hover goes off of it, we want to take the quad, game object set active to false. And so now when my laser points at the object, the quad will show up, which in your case would be a canvas with some text on it, some info or something like that. And then when you hover over it, then it will show that text, and when you go out of it, it will not. Also, or if you wanted it to be like a trigger, so you point at it and you press the trigger, you could do that. All you'd have to do is set it in the activate here. So activated and deactivated instead of selected. So if we hit play here, let's see if this works. So we have our cube, and when I point at it, you'll see the quad shows up. So like if you had some info text right there, it'd be like, oh, like what is this object? Oh, there it is. That's the stats that has this health, or weighs this much, or whatnot. And then when I press the grip button, I grab it, and the item only shows up when I'm hovering over it still. So there we go. And I can still like throw it like normal. Oh, but the icon, you would have to kind of add a script to the quad, so it's always hovering above the cube or whatever object it is, instead of directly parented to it. But that's a very quick and easy demo of like how to do that. Let me check comments one more time. Not one more time. We'll check comments a lot more. When using continuous move, the cube stutters. Can you show this fix? Okay, so let's swap over to continuous move. I'm going to delete this quad. Delete. And then these can get removed, so no errors happen. So right now our movement is set up to be teleportation. So we have teleportation provider and a snap turn provider. I'm going to add the continuous move provider and the continuous turn provider, both action based, because we're using the new input system. Action based uses the new input system. And then we are going to turn off the snap turn and teleportation. And also the ground, we're going to turn off the teleportation area. Save the scene, and now when I hit play, so when I point at the cube, I can pick it up, and then when I move around, you'll see that I'm moving, but the cube is also going forwards and backwards, which we can fix. And also when I turn, I can turn with both hands, which is super annoying. So there's a couple bugs we can fix in here right now. One is I can actually turn with my movement hand, which is very annoying. So over in the Locomotion system, in the continuous move provider, we're just going to uncheck the right hand action. So this is the movement, so I could have moved with both hands if I wanted to. And then also the continuous turn provider, we're going to uncheck right hand. So now we move with our left hand, turn with the right hand. You can also update the turn speed and move speed. So like if we want to move a little faster, change the move speed to like 3. And then when we were moving around, the cube was getting pushed forward and rotated and whatnot. So I'm going to grab the left hand and right hand controllers again. And then on the ray interactor, we're going to uncheck anchor control. So anchor control basically just moves the object when you like move the thumbstick, which I don't know why this is default, but whatever. So we can just uncheck that and then we don't have to worry about it. And then if we want the cube to kind of smooth a little bit, there is a smooth, so you can do smooth position and smooth rotation here. So just check both of those and it should smooth the jitteriness out a little bit. Save that, hit play. And we'll see if we have any jitteriness. Find the cube and there we go. It's a little bit jittery. It's not too bad. It's like when I'm moving forward and sideways at the same time, or like when I get up to a little bit of a speed, kind of jitters a little bit. But you can just fine tune the smoothness settings and that should go away. How would you go about swapping between multiple interactors? So you're talking about like swapping between different movement types and stuff? A Gorilla Tag movement or Echo VR type of movement would be a entirely different video that would likely involve some code. Does the toolkit have hand tracking as well? I believe it does. I haven't looked into it very much, but I think Oculus just integrated some of its hand tracking stuff. So I need to do some more research about it. What's more friendly for a non-programmer, VR interaction framework or Hurricane VR? They're both pretty like set up, like where you don't have to really code very much. If you wanted to just jump in and get a game up and running pretty quickly, it's a very good like kind of prototyping thing. And then once you like, you know, find the fun in your game, and then you're like, okay, well, I want to like fine tune this kind of thing. That's when you can jump into the code and make some things happen a little differently. But I'd say they're both pretty good. You'll have to do some coding just because it's a game. And, you know, what happens when you enter in this trigger box? Like, you have to set up a little script for that. Like, your game rules kind of things, like how do you win and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I would like to do a video. I've gotten a good bit of requests on how to make a Gorilla Tag movement. So we will look into that a little bit. It's basically like when you grab, you basically just apply physics to your, it's almost like you're grabbing, not grabbing the object, like when you grab the object, you just apply the opposite physics to yourself because the object's going to stay still. But when you like kind of launch, like throw the, instead of throwing the object, you're throwing yourself. So you basically just apply the opposite physics to whatever you're grabbing. So any ways to swap between teleportation and continuous movement? Yes. We can talk about that. So, and this may work for you too, Travis, with the swapping between interactors. So like the same kind of concept. So I'm going to do a very basic script and show you how to swap between teleporting and continuous move. And so you can like swap between that, or you can have like a little settings menu to swap between them or whatnot. So basically what we need to do is turn off and on, like, you know, when something happens, when a button is pressed or a settings toggle is, or a button is clicked in like a settings menu or whatnot, we just need to swap from like continuous move to snap turn. So basically just turn one off and turn the other one off. So we could just add a super basic script to this. So I'm going to go back to assets, make a script. C# script, and we're just going to call this Locomotion. We have to spell Locomotion right. Locomotion controller. And then I'm going to double click on that to open up Writer, which is the editor that I use. But this will all work in Visual Studio Code, whatever you want to use. When the clipping through walls, we can get to that too. We'll do swapping between teleportation and continuous movement, and then yeah, we should have time to do clipping through walls. You may have to remind me because I'll totally forget. I have the worst memory. Camera. There we go. All right, so we have our super basic script here. I'm just going to delete the comment code, and we're not going to need an update method. And so basically what we need to do is we need to take in an action. So when an action is performed or a button is pressed with a new input system, then we want to, do something. So we want to, so we'll do, and I have a reference up actually, so that I don't lead y'all astray. Right now, all we need is using Unity Engine, and then we're doing Locomotion controller, and we're gonna have a couple serialized fields, and we want a input action reference, and that's gonna add the Unity Engine .input system up here at the top. And so this will be the toggle turn mode. And then I'm going to duplicate this by pressing Control D. And then instead of toggle turn mode, it'll be toggle move mode. And so these, so now if we save this and go back to Unity. Ooh, Unity. Wait for Unity to wake itself back up. And then we're just going to add the Locomotion controller onto the Locomotion system. And so now we have some input action references. And so we can set up an action over here. So over in our samples and the default input actions here, we can add in another action. So on the left hand, we'll say new action, and we want to toggle, the left hand is move, so toggle move mode. And then the binding is just going to be the controller, left hand, optional controls, and then joystick clicked. And then I'm actually going to copy this, and then on the right hand, paste it. So, and then we're going to rename it to toggle turn mode. And then we'll just need to swap this from left hand to the right hand. Joystick clicked. Where are you? There you are. So we have a toggle turn mode action when the joystick is clicked for the right hand, and then a toggle move mode when the joystick is clicked for the left hand. And they are both going to be, so it's a button. This one's set up as a button as well. So, and then save. And now if we go back to the Locomotion system, and let me know if I'm going too fast or need to, go over something a little more. So now we can find that input. So the toggle, here we go, toggle move mode. It's in this list now. So that's the, oh, that was the turn. That's the wrong one. So the first one is actually gonna be right hand toggle turn mode. And then toggle move mode is left hand toggle move mode. So we added in an action into these controls here, and then now we have set that action to this, and now we're gonna subscribe to it basically and listen and say, whenever this action happens, I want to perform this thing. So back in code here, we want to, right when we start, or on the wake actually, we're going to say toggle turn, or toggle, we'll do it the right order. Toggle turn mode dot action dot performed, and then we want to subscribe. So in order to subscribe to a method, you do plus equals, and then we'll just say toggle turn, and that's going to be our method. So we're going to go down here and create a method. So it's going to be a void toggle turn, and it's going to take in a callback context x. Go. I guess we do need input. It's input action dot callback context ctx. And then, so now we have subscribed to the turn. So whenever the turn action is performed, this method runs. And then we're just going to duplicate that. Press Control D and change all the turn stuff to move. So move action performed, and then we're going to toggle move. And then I'm going to duplicate that by highlighting it, pressing Control D, and then toggle move. And then we need a reference to all four of the different kind of movement type things. So serialized field, and then we need a teleportation provider. This will be the teleportation provider. And then we need a snap turn provider. This will be snap turn provider base. And then we have a continuous move and continuous turn. So continuous move provider base. Make sure everything's named consistently. And then one more, serialized field, continuous turn provider base. It stays, and then continuous turn provider base. That gets changed. There we go. So now we have the two actions. So toggling turn, toggling move, and then we have all four action, or basically the providers that actually, perform all that kind of thing. We're basically locating these scripts here. So these four. And Unity is gonna reload everything, but we want to reference to this. So teleportation provider goes here, snap turn goes there, continuous move, and continuous turn. So we're just linking each one in here. And then inside of our toggle turn, toggle move, all we have to do is do the, so when we toggle turn, we're just going to set the snap turn provider dot enabled is going to be equal to the opposite of whatever it was. So snap turn provider dot enabled. And then same thing for the continuous move. So continuous move or turn, continuous turn provider dot enabled. It's going to be equal to whatever the continuous move, continuous turn enabled. So basically just toggling it, swapping it over. Thanks, Cosmo. I really appreciate that. I try to pack as much information as I can into videos. Like I go through and like condense out all the breaths and the ahs and the ums and whatever. And so I like doing the live streams too now. That's kind of my New Year's thing, is I want to start doing more live streams and be more interactive with everyone. So same thing for toggle move. That's just continuous move provider. It's going to be toggled to whatever the opposite of continuous move provider is. And then same for the teleportation. Okay. So what the code's doing is we have two actions. We are subscribing to both of those actions, and then whenever either of those actions happen, we're just going to go through and basically flip-flop whatever like item you could do. And who was asking? Travis, I think you're asking about the ray interactor and grab interactor. You could do something like that for this as well. So you basically, instead of enabled, you would, since I don't even think you could put both components on the same object, you might have to do two different game objects, but you just basically do set active instead, and toggle those objects on and off. Ooh, can you see the puppy down in the background? She's being very hungry right now. All right, let's save this back to Unity. And then we'll try this out, see if this works. I need to make sure to turn the ground teleportation area. That's something else you could do, is go through and turn all of the teleportation area things off and on when you are toggling the teleportation provider on and off. But that's like an extra thing you could do, just so you're you'll see in a sec. When you're pointing around, it's going to register as a valid input of like something you can click on, but it won't be because you've turned teleportation off. All right, let's see. So right now we have continuous move on and continuous turn on. But if I click the move button, now I can't, I'm like pressing the thumbstick, nothing happens, but I can now teleport. Aha. And then, so I still have continuous turn on, but if I click the thumbstick there, now I have snap turn. And then click it again, and it goes back. And then I still have teleportation on, so if I click the teleportation button, now I have continuous move turned back on. So super, a relatively easy script. I wouldn't say super easy, but that's how you do like a little more complex of a movement. So it's really, really necessary to accommodate someone who gets very motion sick, and so teleportation is essential. It's basically essential to add to your game at the current moment. Because like, you know, there's still people who are very uncomfortable with movement in VR and need to teleport if you're going to incorporate some kind of movement in there. But being able to do continuous move for the VR experts who are good at that kind of thing. So let's see. Don't have a Quest 2 strap, like the expert strap. Yeah, I just have the floppy one because it fits over my it fits over my headset, so I can like take it on and off while I'm teaching. And also the cord goes through the back here. So my little trick I showed you all in the tutorial video, if you didn't see that this week, but it's to take the cord that plugs into your headset and run it through this little back loop, and that kind of relieves some of the downward pressure that would normally be on it when you have it up in like on your head. Little tips and tricks. Wow, she's still going. Yeah, sure thing, Sean. Let's see. Oh, we can, so Y00 times 3, we can get to the, how to not collide with things now, if we want to. How do you go about creating a menu? Let's see. So we're going to go to about 5 for me, so about 50 more minutes. So we'll see how far we can get with all of your questions and whatnot in one stream, and then I'll do another one next week. I'm going to try to do as many as I can, or one every weekend, as long as I'm in town. How long did it take me to get this fluent in Unity plumbing? Is everything underlying represented in classes that can be hauled via get component and then used? Yeah, most of it is all, so anything you see in these components here can all be accessed via code. And they all generally have they're named pretty close to whatever the component name is. So over in the Locomotion system, you just have to, if you go here, you see that the script is teleportation provider. So if I was trying to figure out how to access this, I would type in teleportation provider or action-based snap turn provider. Or action-based continuous move provider, or in our case, we just used the provider base. So, like we could have done action based continuous turn provider, and that would have worked as well. Oops. That would have effectively done the same thing. We just used the base, which kind of gives us access to a little more things. So like if we press F12 to go into this, you'll see that there is a continuous turn provider base, which is what we were using. If we use the action-based controller turn provider, we would get access to a little more things. But I'm just gonna undo that. I've actually only been doing like Unity stuff for like a year. But you didn't know that. Yeah, I've only been game development coding for like probably about a year. But I've done coding like C# and whatnot for a long time, like since I was like fifth grade, so like 10. Both of my parents are software developers and always have been software developers, so I kind of like grew up in that kind of environment where everything was very like logic oriented, and instead of doing PowerPoints for class presentations, I was always the kid who made a website for it. So it was pretty crazy. Yes, Unity website has very good tutorials. If we go to, let's do Unity Learn. And if we search VR, little bit of words. Oh, that's not what I want. Oh, come on. Where is the, I'm going to find it. One sec. There's a Unity course. It's a Unity VR course. Yeah, create with VR. There it is. So this is a very, very good course. It's based off of 2020.3, not the newest version yet. They haven't updated it. Here, I'll post it in the chat. But aside from some of the setup stuff, which you can just watch this video or the last video of how to get set up, or you can just use 2020.3 for the versioning. But it goes through, this course is very nice. It goes through a lot of the basics. So how to like set up software, which may be a little different if you're using the newest version. But it goes over basics. So how to do locomotion, grabbable objects, sockets. And then you can get into like events, interactions. So like here you like, you were asking how to set up a UI. So you set up a UI in this section here. How to like do events, audio events. And then it gets into like optimization, lighting, shaders, that kind of thing. So very good intro to VR if you're interested in getting into this. It's learn.unity/project. And it's create with VR. All right, learn.unity.com/course/create with VR, which I just posted in the chat. So, will I always gear tutorials towards beginners, or will things be geared towards more advanced users in the future? Well. I am currently working on, and so this is kind of my goal for this year, 2020, is I am working on a project where it's going to be a like 10 to 12 hour course, free on YouTube, like a just 10 to 12 hour video about how to make a this one's Call of Duty Zombies, start to finish in like 10 hours or something like that. It's gonna be cool. And so that's the project. One of the side projects I'm working on right now is just making the game right now. And then if you're in the Patreon, you'll get words. If you're on the Patreon, you'll get access to the alpha builds and whatnot to help me like test it and play around with it. But I'm hoping in the next few months I'll be able to wrap that up and start making the video for it. But it's gonna be just a super long, like pretty advanced like tutorial of like, let's make an entire game, and I'll show you my entire process of how to set up the project from scratch from the beginning, and then get all the way through to like, okay, well now how do we build it, compile it, and send it to people or put it on side quest or whatever. And it'll be free, because doubt I could monetize the name Call of Duty Zombies. I can name it something else and make it very similar to Call of Duty Zombies. We'll see. We're getting there, but it'll probably just be like all free assets, everything you could do for free by yourself. I'll go through like step by step how to do all the coding, how to do all the environment and lighting and VR setup and everything, and show you how to do Call of Duty Zombies in VR. It'll be super cool. Pegs recommends going through the junior programmer course if you're new to C# too. Yes. All of these are in Unity, learn.unity.com. Super good website. Shows you, you can sign in and like kind of browse different things. So Unity Essentials, if you're getting up and running with Unity. Junior Programmer is what Pegs just mentioned. And then Creative Core is more of a like level design, lighting kind of stuff. And then you can do scripting, AI, user interface stuff, physics. There's a lot of like courses and stuff on here that aren't on YouTube, but these are like a lot more in-depth, longer courses for anyone who's learning Unity. So yeah, these are pretty good stuff. A lot of the VR stuff is a little bit outdated still. It's like 2020 right now stuff, so we'll get there. Oh, and the jam. If you are new, you weren't here right at the beginning, we are doing a VR jam. Let's see how many people have signed up so far. We got 4 extra people signed up so far. So we're doing a VR jam. The link's down in the description if you would like to join a jam here at the end of January. So it's going to be the 28th, midnight on the 28th. So midnight on Friday, all the way to midnight on the 30th on Sunday. And so it's going to be a super fun jam. I'm announcing the theme right when we start. Everyone else is going to rate it. There may or may not be prizes depending on if we get any sponsors. And I'm actually going to be participating in it as well. So you can see how your game compares to whatever game I make. And I'm going to be live streaming most of it that weekend too. So if you can't make it or do a game, then come hang out for the live stream. What's a jam? So a game jam, if you're unfamiliar, is where you start a game and finish a game in 72 hours or however long the game jam is. So this one is 72 hours. You have to start a game from scratch with a theme that's given to you right when the jam starts. And at the end, you have to have, come up with a cool idea, executed it, and then you've had to polished it out, added audio and interactions and stuff, and then posted it to this website, itch.io. Here, I'll post the link again. And so I think we're going to vote in the Discord what the theme's going to be. And then we will, it'll be fun. And I'll be live streaming most of it. So if you can't actually participate in the jam and want to just kind of hang out and, you can be part of my team. And you can give me ideas and help out. And maybe I'll even recruit an artist or two to help out and add some 3D models and whatnot. So sign up for the jam. It's gonna be fun. It'll be a casual game jam. But these are like really, really good ways to learn how to do VR, because you have to make a start to finish product, and so you'll inevitably run into a hiccup along the way of oh crap, I don't really know how to do this part, so I need to after the jam, like even if you don't finish, it's totally fine. Just after the jam, you know a lot more of like what you need to work on. And it's cool, and you learn a lot, and it's a whole lot of fun, and it's even more fun if you join a community. And so there'll be a there's like a whole section in the Discord. So join the Discord down below, and you can hang out and find a community, find a 3D artist or a programmer or a audio designer or whatever, and hang out. What would you say is the genre for VR? Game genres for VR? Honestly, it could be anything. Yeah, Austin says definitely do a VR game or a game jam. Highly recommend. Yes, it's super nice. AR? Are you talking about the word, like the actual like technical definition, or like for this jam in particular? Because like like XR is like how people describe AR and VR together. For this jam, I think it's going to be specifically for VR. Just because if you like sign up for it and like you come to a VR jam, you're expecting like a VR game, so that's probably going to be for this one. It's going to be just VR things, and that's what like the channel covers most of the time anyway. Cool. Thanks for signing up. Let's see. Oh yeah, like pass-through stuff. I need to like learn some more about the pass-through things and talk about that a little bit. Oh, you tried the tutorials, Sean, and they didn't really work out for you too much? Huh. Interesting. I might need to go through it again. It's been a while. I think I did it right when it came out. So it might be like some of the things might be a little broken for the newest versions. Let's see. We were talking about the game genres for VR. Really, it could be anything. Like, you could do the like, you know, horror is always like a kind of like most filmmakers starting is always like horror. Like their first like film is always like a horror film. Because it's like a relatively easy like genre. And then you can kind of branch out into, do you want to do like more of a shooter game? Do you want to do a like RPG game or like a storytelling game like Firewatch or something like that? Firewatch would be a cool one, like Firewatch in VR. I mean, it's mostly shooters. There's a lot of shooters. Shooters make a lot of money, and so like a lot of people gravitate towards shooters. I would I'm making a couple story games right now, or like one of them's on pause because I'm just swamped with work things. I do need to figure out how to flip pass through on, because that would be cool to be able to like do AR stuff. Mixed reality. I don't have any hand tracking specific stuff yet. That's like, so it's like hand tracking, and the pass through stuff is like still stuff that I need to learn still. And I'll do a tutorial about climbing Yemen. That one's a little more involved with like coding and stuff. Not in this live stream. Ooh, how would you guys like to do like gaming live streams? Like instead of like me going through a tutorial and talking about stuff, like what if we just did some like games and whatnot, and like just played like Pavlov or something? Would that be something that would be interest you? It would be like a completely like separate live stream, but would that be something that would be fun? Oh, thanks, Chrissy. Appreciate it. Yeah, the feedback that I've gotten from all these videos has been absolutely incredible. So, and the live streams are super fun because then I actually get to hang out with y'all. Ooh, I do like that idea. Like, what if I do like a playthrough of a game, like go through Half-Life Alyx and talk about like, okay, this is how they did this part of the game, and this is how they did this thing. Were you there like one of the first? I think Austin was there at one of the first like game hangouts. I think we did like Lone Echo or something. It was like just like 3 or 4 of us, and we just like hung out in the lobby and talked for like an hour. It was great. Yeah, games that have unique mechanics, and then build them. Yes. So I actually bought the Fruit Ninja because I want to like dissect it and like basically go through and be okay, let's like recreate Fruit Ninja in VR. Like I think that'd be cool. And I think that's what I kind of want to like direct some of my energy at this year is instead of doing like, you know, little bits and pieces of tutorials, which I'll keep doing, but I think it'll be much more valuable for y'all to do like full games. Like, all right, this is start to finish using the latest version of Unity. This is how you make Fruit Ninja VR, or like this is how you make Call of Duty Zombies VR, and they're like several hour-long tutorials with like, you know, chapters and whatnot, so you could skip through them and you're like, okay, I already know how to set up a project and whatever, so I'm gonna like get to this particular part. Oh yeah, multiplayer would be cool. Sariento, I have never actually played Sariento, so I need to try that one out. Do you guys have any what games do you want me to play? What are some interesting like games that I should play that you want to try to like recreate the mechanics of? At Papa's Pizzeria. I have not published any games. I have one game if you are interested in. Let me log into itch. Or actually, I have one game that you could play, Game Jam game. These 4 walls. There we go. So this is something that I have made and published. So this was for the last Game Jam. So this was the VR Jam 2021. So there was like 86 people who did an entry, and almost 700 people signed up. And the theme was Small World. And so it was basically this is pretty much the same as like the Game Jam that we're doing at the end of January. So me and my team, so it was me, and then 3 other people. I had a like a game designer, storyteller, a 3D modeler, and a audio engineer. And we made these 4 walls. So it's essentially like you're in a room. And you can even see from like the screenshot, like we didn't even do an outside. Like there's just no out. You're just like in a floating room. It's a game jam. You can, you know, do really cool stuff. But it was an AR game. So you had this like big Switch tablet that you'd have to use to actually see this little green dude. And so like you can see he's not on the table. You have to look at him through the tablet. And so you use the tablet to kind of navigate the green dude through like this little like 3D platformer type game. And like everything's interactable and like grabbable and throwable and whatnot. So you'd have to like move the chair over to the shelf and have the green dude like jump up onto the chair and then onto the shelf to like get up there and whatnot. So it was super fun to make and a really cool concept. And so yeah, if you're interested in playing it, it's for free. It's on Quest and on whatchamacallit, PC. I don't know why I couldn't think of PC. Let's see. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. This is what it looks like. These 4 walls. So yeah, there's a little green dude, and you can only see him through like the Switch's camera. It's like a fake AR game. It was an AR game inside of VR. It's very meta. Let's see. Super Hot's really cool. Super Hot's fun and would be relatively easy to recreate, I think. Like just everything's in slow-mo. You do slow-mo based on velocity, so you just add up the velocity of your head and controllers, um, and then use that to calculate the speed. The Walking Dead would be a little more complex to make. Walking Dead's it's a good game. It is very well done. A Township Tale, Blatant Sorcery, Fisherman's Tale. Is that the same as a Township Tale? Is that like the same company? I haven't played either of them. I've been very lax on my like playing games. I need to get into games to play more. Should I do like game reviews and stuff from like a developer's perspective too? What kind of content would y'all like to see? Like I know we're doing tutorials and that's like kind of my niche of VR tutorials, but I want to do something a little more interesting. Like I want to get into like making the full length tutorials of like a whole game, or like doing a dev reviews of some game or whatever. Fisherman's Tale. Here, let me write these down. So, A Fisherman's Tale, A Township's Tale. Those are different, apparently. If I could take a unique aspect from a game and then recreate it as a tutorial. Yeah, so that's that's what I'd like to do. Like, like VR Fruit Ninja, and like how do you recreate VR Fruit Ninja? It'd be like a very crappy kind of recreation, but all the mechanics would be there. Like it wouldn't look as pretty as Fruit Ninja, but we could do it. Is user-generated content an actual game? Social engineer? Oh yeah, App Lab. Or not App Lab, but like the Lab VR. That one's pretty cool. Resist. Ooh, there's a game. Resist. It's like a dungeon. What's it called? Dungeon something. It's on App Lab, and it has a very very nice like throwing mechanic, like knife throwing mechanic. And I like literally just threw a knife into a wall for like a solid 15 minutes because it was so fun. Oh, I forgot what it's called. It's like a dungeon crawler thing. Okay. Yeah, Fisherman's Tale. Yeah, maybe I'll do like game reviews from a developer's perspective and be like, okay, this is a really cool mechanic. This was implemented well. This one's like a little more kind of thing, or like it's actually a PC game that they tried to make into a VR game and didn't really work out too well, because that's what a lot of the AAA companies are trying to do right now. Like I never even played Medal of Honor. Like I just saw a bunch of reviews on it and I was like, oh, this is just not a good. Like they just tried to make a PC game into a VR game, where it's like they froze the player and they didn't like give the player freedom of movement. And, like a lot of the mechanics were kind of meh. Ancient Dungeon, yes, that's a good one. Highly recommend that one. It's like a super like simple like kind of dungeon crawler thing, roguelike. Could start exploring indie VR games and analyze those. Yeah, so I might could do like creating a community generated game. So like you guys make all the choices, and then like release it on Steam, and it's like, oh, like yeah, the YouTube channel made it. That would be fun. That would be pretty cool. Just like live stream, like Thomas Brush does. If any of y'all follow Thomas Brush, he just like live streams. He's making a new game called Father. It's just like a 3D game. It's not a VR game. But like he literally just live streams like for like 3 or 4 hours a day, or maybe even more. And it's like literally just him making the game like solo, and like 300 or 400 people watch him like the entire time, the whole time. Granted, he has like 250,000 subscribers, but yeah, that's interesting. Oh, Unity tried to do that. Oh yeah, I was. It was like the one with like the pigs and stuff. Recreate Gorilla Tag. Yeah, that one would be pretty simple, I think. You just have to get the movement down. That's the hard part. I'm writing all these down. I'm writing down your ideas. I'm gonna try to do them. It's a lot of ideas. I'm I want to at least come out with a video every single week, like informational, like tutorial type video. And then if I have enough time, I'll start doing more. In addition to the tutorial videos, I will start to do like game reviews and that kind of stuff. One video a day. Goodness, I still have a 9 to 5 job, so I do all this and a 9 to 5 job. So I'll have to. I'll need to make some money first from this. Like I make a decent amount, but oh yeah, we could talk about wall clipping stuff. Um, let's jump back into Unity. One sec. All right. All right. So we have set up a pretty, pretty well set up project so far for VR. Like it has a lot of the things you would need if you're doing a basic VR thing. And we can even toggle the movement stuff around now. But if I were to like put a wall in here, so let's add a 3D object cube wall. Set that back to the center, and then let's kind of make it flat and do something like that. There we go. And then we'll put it right there. Sure. So this has a box collider on it. So we're gonna figure out how to not walk through it. So right now, if I hit play, and then kind of move around, I can just literally go right through it. And I can like, look around it. So there's no collision with the XR interaction toolkit stuff. So we have to kind of home make our own. Oh, the music went away. Do you guys like the music, or should I keep the music off? I think it was this one. Too loud. There we go. It's just like a subtle, like, in the background. You don't like it, Anthony? Yes, music. You guys are split, so you're not helping me. It's like subtle. So like when I'm not talking, like it kind of fills the spaces because it's I don't have music in my tutorial videos that are like, pre-baked because I know y'all like to listen to music in the background while you're coding and stuff, so I don't want to interrupt that kind of stuff. But for the live stream, it's fine. I doubt you'll watch this as like a info tutorial type video, so I'm not super worried about it. All right, so how do we get a collider onto our XR origin and not go through the wall? So on the XR origin, we're going to add a so click on XR origin, add component, and capsule collider, and then we want it to be a radius of like 0.25. It's like a pretty decent one, and then we'll say 1 and height of 1 point. We'll just do 2. So this is like our layer. Here, let me turn the skybox off so you can see a little better. Rendering, lighting, environment, skybox off. There we go. Oh, you only want one specific kind of music, social engineer? I see how it is. Now that we've been talking about the music, that's all I can just hear it. It seems much louder now. to change a different song, not something with like clapping in the middle of it. All right, so we have a collider, but there's a little bit of an issue with this. So I'm gonna back out, and I'm not going to maximize the game view this time. So when I hit play, so go back into scene view, and you can see like the camera here, and the camera's moving around, but the collider doesn't actually follow me. So it follows me when I like move, but when I take steps, like it doesn't follow me. So that's an issue. So like if I tried to run into something now, it would, well, not prevent me because I'm not using a rigid body either. So let's add a rigid body. Rigid body, and then we want to lock the rotation axis. And now, let's see. We shouldn't go through the wall. So if I move around, yeah, there we go. So we have a collider and a rigid body, and now I'm not going through the wall, but if I have the headset on, I can still step through the wall. So if I move up to the wall, I can still, like, let's see, like step forward and backwards through the wall. So we want the collider to match up with the camera and not with the XR origin. And there's not really like an easy way to just like, you know, a checkbox to be like, yeah, follow the XR, like follow the camera. So we want to do a little bit of a script. So we're gonna create a new script, and I'm just gonna call this player behavior. Or you can do player controller. I'm trying to adjust I'm learning more about different coding styles and like systems and whatnot, and like naming stuff. So and that's something else that'll come into the like longer form tutorial videos when I'm doing a project, is you will actually see the structure of like all the code and stuff, because a lot of the tutorials it's like, oh, like this is good and it works and it like gets you going, but it's probably not something you should use in an actual like project because it's not very robust and it's gonna change around a lot. So that's like the reasoning behind doing another reason behind doing the long tutorials. Ooh, we're getting close to the end. I gotta go quick. I got about 15 minutes left. Oh, where's the other code? Where'd you go? I had a reference code sheet up, but whatever, we'll just do it without it. Oh, this is the reference. Where's my other code then? Boop, boop. There we go. All right, so now we have our player behavior. We'll click into that. And then we'll make sure that packages are set up. I'm going to delete these. And then, all right, so when we get started, we want to grab the collider. So we want reference to the collider. And this one doesn't even have to be serialized because we'll just grab it right off the bat. This is Rider, JetBrains Rider. It is amazing, works wonderfully with Unity, and highly recommend it because like the IntelliSense is amazing. Also, I can start Unity from in here as well and like run it and like do all that kind of stuff. So recommend, highly recommend. And it's free for students, and also there's like a 3-month it's a paid editor, but if you're a student, you can get it for free. And I think it's like 3 months you get it for free if you're not a student. So you can like try it out, see if you like it. So we need access to the collider. So we'll do capsule collider. And then we also need access to the XR origin. So we're going to do XR origin. And that added using unity.xr.coreutils. up at the top here. And then when we start, we're going to grab the collider. So collider is going to be get component, and that's going to be a type of capsule collider. And then the XR origin is going to be get component of type XR origin. Now on the update method, we want to, every time we update, check for the player's height and reset the capsule to whatever the player's height is. We want to check the player's position and reset the capsule to wherever the position is, and then reset the height of the collider so it's like, half of, like, the center point is half of the player's height, so it like lines up correctly. So first we'll do the height. So we'll do collider dot height. It's going to be equal to, and this is going to be the XR origin dot camera in origin space height. So this is basically whatever the is the camera's distance from the ground. Oh, 30-day trial. Okay. Anyway, it's a weird pricing scheme too. It's like the most expensive right when you buy it, and then every year after that the price gets lower. So it's I love it. I use it every day for work. I think everyone else in my company uses like Visual Studio or whatever, and I use Writer, and I work so much faster than all of them. So it's very nice. Hey Soul. So if you're just joining us, we're actually coming close to the end. I got about 10 minutes left, and then I got people coming over. But we are setting up how to prevent the player from moving through walls. So we got a little wall here. We added a collider to the XR origin. Unity's gonna think some more. So we added a collider to the XR origin, and we're trying to update the collider every frame to the camera. So first we're setting the height, and then we need to set the center. So we're going to do collider dot, we'll do, so capsule collider goodness, collider dot center is going to be equal to, and we need to do a new vector 3 because we need to separate the X and Y from the Y, or X and Z from the Y. So we're going to do XR origin dot camera in space position dot X. So that's the X position. The Y position is going to be the half of the collider height. So it's going to be the collider dot height divided by 2. And then the Z position is just going to be XR origin camera in origin space position dot Z. So let me space that out so y'all can see all of this. So we have so we're setting the collider's height to whatever the camera's height is, and then the center point is going to be wherever the camera is in like relation to its parent object on the x-axis. Half of the collider height, because the center point is half. You'll see it works. And then the camera in space position Z. This is happening every frame. So we want to, let me make sure I typed all that in right. Cool. Jump back up into Unity. And now when we hit play. Yeah, you're so welcome, Brimstone. And this is going to be posted later for everyone who is watching right now. If you want to come back to it and whatnot. I'm going to post all the live streams. So now, let's see. You'll see the collider actually follows me. So I can move around and whatnot, and then I can still move normally. But the collider follows me, so now when I try to like walk into this wall here, hold on. I can try to take a step and it pushes me back. So I'll show you what that looks like in the game view. Oh, here, let me replay. So in the game view here, oh, Unity's gonna take forever. There we go. So I can move around, but if I take a step, let me make sure I don't run into the table. If if I take a step forward, it's just going to push me back. So I can't like look through it. So if I try to, it just pushes me to the side. So I can't even go through it. If I'm going really fast, I might be able to get through it. But to fix that, all you have to do is update the rigid body. So rigid body, instead of discrete, you could do continuous dynamic. And now there's no way you'll be able to run fast enough to get through the wall. But yeah, that's how in my games, I like to prevent you from looking through walls. Some people will have just like a canvas in front of the player and just kind of fade to black whenever you do that. So I'll run through like the whole thing one more time just to kind of show y'all. So this, I added a capsule collider, a rigid body. So this is the XR origin, and then a player behavior script. And then on the script, all we're doing is grabbing the collider and the XR origin, and then we're setting the height to, however high the camera is. So you just use this special camera in origin space height variable, and then we're setting the center of the collider to the camera in origin space position X value, half of the collider's height, and the camera in origin space position Z value. And oh yes, so probably fixed update might be better for this. Good catch. So if you don't know the difference, update is every frame. Fixed update is a fixed interval, and so you should do all of your physics things inside of fixed update and all of your visual things inside of update. So good catch, Matt. Anyone recommend low poly packs in the asset store? I actually just recently bought a low poly pack. I think it was just called low poly something. There's a lot of good ones, and I do recommend doing a low poly thing if you're doing VR games. High poly stuff is very hard on VR games. You have to treat VR games like a mobile game. Like it's very difficult to especially for the Quest to like kind of keep up and everything. Let's see. Magoof, I am trying to do a live stream every weekend, so it likely will be. I want to try to do it around noon on Saturdays. This one ended up being on 3 because I was doing something busy, but likely it'll be on Saturdays if I can. As long as I'm in town, I'm going to try to do live streams every Saturday. And we may like mix it up and do like, okay, we're going to play games this time instead of do a tutorial. And we'll like, I'll let y'all jump into a private like Pavlov game. And it's noon on Eastern time. So New York. Which I'm actually in Atlanta, so noon Atlanta time. So it's like GMT +5, I think. But yeah, polygon packs are good. Oh yeah, the synth, like what you would call it thing. Those are good. But yeah, like I want to play games with y'all and like hang out. And I think like going into like playing Pavlov or playing like Echo VR or whatever. I did like several months ago did like an Echo VR hangout, and like this was back when I had like 1,000 subscribers, and so like 2 or 3 people showed up, and we literally just hung out and talked in the lobby for like an hour. Like we didn't even play like the game. We played the game like once maybe, and then we just hung out in the lobby and talked because it was super fun. How do you import YouTube into your game? You have to do an API call for that. Running games through the Link USB Type-C cable, does it matter if you connect the video card or motherboard? That's a good question. I always connect mine to the motherboard. I haven't tried to connect it to the graphics card. I might try that. That's a good question. I don't know if it particularly matters. Can you get serialized data via USB into the Quest? I think you have to be in like USB debugging mode, otherwise it's blocked. So you wouldn't be able to do that for like a normal game. All right. Any last minute questions? Thank y'all for hanging out. Like I said, one last pitch for the game jam. If you are interested in joining a game jam at the end of this month, we are doing the VR Jan Jam. Post the link one more time in the description or in the chat. It's gonna be super fun, very casual kind of jam. We got 23 people signed up, including me. I'll be participating, and it'll be a really fun casual jam. I don't know the theme yet. It's 72 hours. We'll all be making a VR game in 72 hours, and I'm gonna live stream a lot of it, so it'll be fun. Appreciate all of you for coming out. I actually did a video about how to prepare for your game jam. So yeah, check out a video I did previously about how to prep for game jams. If you win the jam, do you get the channel? I might let you do a tutorial or talk about your game. That could be cool. Little yeah, if you beat me in the jam, I'll give you something. Unless I come last and everyone beats me. Everyone's gonna downvote me just because it's me. You get terrible rankings for everything. Thanks, Pegs. I appreciate you. Yeah, Crazy Fish. It's fun. Game jams are super fun. Join the Discord. We'll help you along. And if any of y'all have any like dev questions or whatever, make sure you're in the Discord. I'm pretty sure there's a link in the description for this video. I'm fine. Everything's fine. All right. I'm gonna let y'all go. Appreciate you for coming out. We had a decent amount of people come out. Make sure you're subscribed, and if you would like to, turn the notification bell on, because then you'll actually know when I go live. So I would really appreciate that, and give the video a like so that other people can see it. And other than that, I'll see you next week.